Hello again. It is day number 115 on the journey to 365, and my note for myself to ponder today is know your soul. And the reason I decided to pick know your soul is yesterday I was speaking about hope, and the day before the new week, new choices, and I ended with a discussion on prayer and hope, etc. And in order to anchor those two conversations, we needed to examine the functioning of our soul and what that looks like. Part of examining our soul and how we are going to bring about changes is that we need to realize that what is factual in our emotions are factual. We are experiencing them. We are responding to something going on. I'm not denying that what we are feeling is real and true to us. However, our emotions, our feelings, our sentiments are not the facts of a situation. They are the response to the situation. The facts of the situation cannot change. That our emotions are real to us, we can change them. Not that we call the situation anything different to what it is. If it's a bad situation, it remains a bad situation. How we respond to it, that is our thought process that comes from our soul, and that is how we can change the way we respond to it. Now, my notes. I usually don't look at my notes on my laptop because I prefer just to speak from the heart, but sometimes the heart needs to say things correctly and go to the facts to make sure we're presenting it the way it should be. So I'm going to read this to you. So my notes, by the way, it will be down in the show notes. So if you want to read it after this conversation, you are welcome to go there and make sure you check my wording if you want to examine it in more detail for yourself. So, who are you? You may hide behind the mask you present to others, but your soul holds the truth of your character. You may smile and make a casual statement to someone while your heart's true emotion is hate, and your words betray the reality of evil and nastiness. We all do that to some degree or another. That's a harsh contrast, yes, I know, but your deception, and most often our deception, may be considered more gracious, and it's always good to be gracious. So you may like someone's meal prep, what they're making for you. The cake they made you is tasteless, and that I'm being gracious. It might be a horrible tasting cake, yet you praise their baking skills. Your soul and words are opposites. So in order for you to understand more impact to our body responses to realities, the facts of a situation, and our physical well-being, and how that can affect our emotions, our soul functioning, we need to consider the following. So a book written by J. Adams, I got this off some of my old notes in a paper I wrote years ago when I was still in school. I don't remember the book's title because I cut and pasted it, and it just had his name. So it was J. Adams, and J. Adams says, a physician and a psychologist can be of benefit and assist in understanding medical and developmental aspects of you and me. A physician in understanding cases in which, and he lists the medical conditions, or some other disorder condition is the root of a disorder that you are dealing with. And a psychologist with bona fide factual analysis of human development and actions based on disturbances to the normal pattern can be valid in your working through issues. Now, many people who have my education and counseling experience background, biblical counseling, are known for not being open to working with psychological studies, which I don't think is correct. As is stated right here, a factual analysis of human development and actions based on disturbances to the normal pattern, that is where their training comes into effect, and we can use that, but it is not the final solution, I don't think. So J. Adams continues, however, this does not privilege them talking to the doctor, the physician and the psychologist, does not privilege them to rationalize emotions, feelings, conscience, and guilt, and the psyche of the person being the soul. So that goes back to the functioning of your body and the way you are responding to patterns learned in behavior because of scientific study. They are true, they are real, but the way we respond to it once we've learned we have an option in how we respond. We have a choice. For instance, one of my favorite people who I listen to weekly is Joni Eareckson Tada and Suffering. When you listen to how she responds to being a quadriplegic, being in that wheelchair for so many years, the chronic pain, the cancers she has had through the years, her choice is a response. It's her emotional response based on the foundation and the facts which she has learned in life. And it's remarkable. So our soul is what we need to build. And your soul can be built depending on what you're feeding it. If you keep saying, soul, person, me, inside, all this is horrible going on around me, I'm going to sit and wallow. Now, sure, you may be in a very difficult situation. I've been in horrible pain. I've had years of difficulty. I know what it's like to have to speak to your soul and say, you know what is true, and you then respond correctly. So do not rationalize your emotions, your feelings, your conscience, your guilt, because those are changeable responses to a factual situation. And I'm not making light out of people's predicaments, not at all. I know life can be hard and difficult and challenging, but read sources that can equip you, or listen to Joni Eareckson Tada. Look her up on YouTube, and your soul will be blessed. Every Sunday she puts out something for like a minute or two. If it's life-changing, just the way she responds to the difficulties in her life. I share that every week with a few people. So if you are not able to deal honestly with the depth of your emotions, feeling, conscience, and guilt, and examine that at a deep level, what and who are you hiding from? What is your soul yearning for? If you're remaining in anguish, and you're not able to move beyond the struggles of your soul, and know the hope, know that the blessing of prayer, not just a random meditational thought that goes out there, but definite knowing who your God is and asking him in that moment. It doesn't mean that those difficulties are going to go away, friends. It could be you just remain in them. For years, my health remained as it was. But in that, you get the sweet blessing comforting you from your soul out, where everything is negative around you, yet your soul sings. It resounds with joy and blessing. I can't think of anything more sweet and gracious than knowing that. So know your soul, friends. I exhort you to do that. And until tomorrow, day number 116, we will talk again. Bye-bye for now.